All right, we're back. The most informative, getting more exciting, still very boring real estate podcast. I'm David Caldwell. I'm with Katie Henderson. We're with Hillshire Realty Group. We're just going to talk about some Portland metro area real estate things today. What do you need to know if you're a buyer or seller? Some places where we feel like there are some opportunities. But first, let's talk about the good news with rates today.
We saw some rate relief today. It felt like not long ago, I had opened up my mortgage app and saw the number 8. It was very scary, not something I ever hope to see again. And today, I think we're sitting below 7.5. Is that right?
Yeah, 7.38%.
Yeah.
Now, let's give some perspective on why this rate dip occurred. When there is negative news in the economy when it came to like housing, or not housing, to jobs today, that's actually why we saw rate relief. If we would have seen those job numbers hit where they were hoping or expecting them to hit, you would have seen probably an increase in rate. Because there were less jobs created, we're trying to bring inflation down. Unfortunately, it's like positive news for real estate, but otherwise bad news. And I want to point that out because I don't want us to feel like we're celebrating something necessarily that shouldn't be celebrated, because some people might be looking at that. So, but yes, the good news is rates are below 7.5%. For how long, we don't know. Is this a new trend down? Is this a dip down? Is this going to be the normal for the month of November? Here's what our advice would be. Here's what I would recommend. If you are a home buyer, many lenders, and we could recommend a lender to you, many lenders have programs that allow you to lock in a mortgage rate and go shop. And that could be 45 days, 60 days, 90 days. It gives you a time period in which you have the flexibility to know what the rate is in the event rates increase and get back up to 8%. And if they drop, they also allow you to float the rate down. So if you're someone that really believes, hey, in the next 90 days, I want to do something, it might be a really good time to get with your lender or connect with us, and we can get you with someone to lock in this rate and give you certainty around what you'd be shopping for price-wise a little bit. Just like a quick mortgage calculation, 8% interest rate versus 7.5. I know we're a little bit lower than 7.5, but let's just presume 7.5 on a $600,000 home with 20% down, a $480,000 loan amount. You're saving $165 a month. That half a point is $165 a month, roughly $2,000 a year. So it adds up. Not insignificant, not life-changing, but positive movement. Any thoughts?
Agreed. Yeah, no, I agree. When you said $165 a month, I was like, that's groceries right there. That's huge for people.
Yeah.
So I think that's a significant positive change. And I hope the trajectory continues to move down to friendlier rates, so people can get back out there and shop again.
Yeah, and let's just talk real quick about what you just said about getting out and shopping. I'm looking at our website right now, and in the Portland metro area today, we have 4,477 listings on the market. We don't have numbers yet for October. But here's what I could tell you. It's highly unlikely that there were 2,000 pending sales. So we have more than 2 homes on the market for every buyer in the market shopping right now. So if you are a buyer who can pallet, using borrowing a word from Katie's vocabulary, this higher interest rate environment, there are ample opportunities for you in the market, most likely, depending on what price band you're looking at. So Katie, let's talk about that email you got this morning.
Yeah, I think you and I had been having discussions about the benefits of purchasing new construction. It's being talked about more, why you might buy a new house versus a resale home. And I got an email this morning and I was like, this is why. And their marketing was good. Like I bought into the dream. I wanted to be a part of it. So it was almost like a digital catalog, almost like, do you remember when you would get like holiday catalogs and you'd be like,
Hmm.
I want this sweater and I want these pants. This was like that. It was like seasonal and it had all of their floor plans detailed. And they were offering a rate buy down, a significant rate buy down. I think it would bring buyers down to sub 6%, which is huge. And then they also had an invitation in the catalog to like a holiday event, and you could walk the properties and bring your family and have your picture taken. And I was like, where do I sign up? Like, I'm coming to this event. I don't even know if I'm invited as an agent, but I wanted to go. Like, I was sold on their marketing here. What's not to love? And new construction, the benefits are really endless here. But another big one just being like you're getting a new house with new systems, and you can do things your way. There's so many positives. Again, there are positives to buying resale homes too, but that just really struck me because our discussions had surrounded new construction so frequently in the past few weeks. I don't know. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, well, I mean, here's the benefit of new construction that I see. One, when pricing comes down, as we know it is in the Portland metro area, before you see it in average sales price drop, you see it in closing cost concessions.
Yeah.
And new construction, outside of having a home that's new systems, like pretty cute little neighborhood if new construction's for you, you have been seeing these builders offer substantial back end concessions to sellers, publicly advertise $30,000 in closing costs so they could help buy that rate down. And Katie, I was looking down at my computer while you were talking. The reason I was looking down, I was looking at how much new construction is available in Washington County, Multnomah County, and Clackamas County. This isn't all of them because some builders don't make everything publicly available, but there are 909 new construction listings. So of those almost 4,500 listings that we were talking about, you guys, 909 are new construction. A high percentage of those, they are going to be offering closing cost concessions. A lot of times they have their own mortgage company, but we're seeing people get rates down in the fives. And if you look at studies about the housing market from Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, they talk about the benefit of new construction right now because that is the place that they're seeing the most affordable interest rates. I did a scenario this weekend where I was looking at a house and getting down into the fives on this $800,000 house versus paying market rates at that time was going to save you something like $1,200 a month. So new construction, I bought a new home before. I think people like to buy new cars sometimes, even if they know they're going to lose money when they drive them off the lot, because there is something about buying something that's yours and living there for the first time. I think they could be an incredible option for a lot of buyers, especially ones that are really looking for the benefit of home ownership and desire a lower mortgage interest rate.
Yeah, and I know a lot of people object to new construction too. I have people close to me who say, well, I want the charm of an older home and just the feel of that more established neighborhood. And it's like, well, great, I totally get it. But when are you going to have to replace the roof on that house or the HVAC? There are things like that to look into. When you buy a new construction home, you're pushing those kinds of purchases way down the line. You might sell the house before you even have to do any of those replacements or renovations.
Yeah. And hey, this is what I'd say. If you want the charm and you want the old neighborhood, let's go get the charm in the old neighborhood. But for people who want new construction, I just want to be louder for the people in the back that people are giving substantial discounts. I just pulled up a house,
Totally.
it's $681,000 in Beaverton. It's not a huge house. It's 1,900 square feet, 3-bedroom, 2.5 bath. It's brand new. The first publicly advertised remark is 3% of the sales price towards closing costs for buy downs. Now, go find that on 1,000 listings in the marketplace that are resale. We could probably negotiate it for you. All right, we're going to be able to find ones we can negotiate for you, but it's not going to be publicly advertised. And I was just on a call with a guy and we were talking about the market, and he goes, I saw one of your videos where you were talking about how the market does have more challenges. And I just seen some videos from other realtors where they're talking like there are no challenges. And he specifically pointed out how we had talked about in this video, if you want to take advantage of the opportunities in the market, you have to be able to identify and understand the challenges. And you have to be able to identify the opportunities. Here's the reality. There's a little bit of an oversupply of new construction, right? There's over 900 listed for sale right now. We know we're in a time of year where we might see 1,500 pending sales in a month. These are people that are sitting on active inventory, and there could be the opportunity to get a value if you are a new construction buyer. Now, I want to shift real quick to something seller related. If you're a seller watching this, to what Katie talked about in the presentation of this new construction. I mean, if we roll back to what she was talking about, she was excited, right? She's, oh my God, it was like looking at a catalog. And if you're a home seller, this is really important. You got to get showings from online into like the physical world. I talked with clients about our first showings online, and then we have to get them offline. And it's harder in 2023 to do that than it was in 2021. It'll probably be harder in 2024 to get an offline showing to an online showing. We just had a property go pending really quick at the same price another agent had had the property on the market for weeks. And according to our sellers, they weren't having showings. Not only did we have showings, not only did we have busy open houses, we had multiple offers on the property. Same price. What was the difference? The difference was the presentation. The difference was the little details. We were really focused on, how did it present online? And then how did it make you feel when you walked into the property? So we had the property professionally staged. Before we listed the property for sale, we made sure we had specific photos that highlighted a different perspective of the property. It was right by an elementary school. To some people, they would perceive that as a negative. Great, let's have them skip going and seeing the house. To other people, they're going to be super excited that they're so close to an elementary school. Let's highlight that and try to get that specific buyer in. So what Katie's talking about is so important these days, you guys. And lots of real estate professionals think $150 on professional photography and putting it up online is okay, that's sufficient presentation, and it just might not be, right? This market takes a little bit more attention and care and detail to stand out, because this is the first time in maybe 10 years that we could actually maybe make an argument we have a little bit of an oversupply of housing.
Yeah, I would say price and presentation are going to be supremely important when you're marketing a property. It has to be priced appropriately, and it has to be presented in a way that's intriguing and is, like you said, generating that in-person showing, drawing that person who's sitting at home on their smartphone or on their laptop out of the house and saying, I need to go see this product.
Yeah. And I don't think this is indicative of the market, but I was looking at a house today, and it's been on the market for some time. And when it was listed for sale, it was, presented fairly well, but it was priced really high. I mean, every time I looked at this house, it was priced really high, and it started at $2.5 million. I'm going to make the story short, not tell the long version. They did switch agents. Upon switching agents, they went from, there were some price reductions, $2.5 million to $1.8 million or 1.85, I can't remember. That property went pending at $1,450,000. So $1 million price reduction. Now here's the reality. The value of that home didn't fall $1 million. It was never worth $2.5 million. It was priced too high to begin with. But as the price improved, you actually did see the presentation improve as well. The perspective of the first showing and what was the first photo and what was showcased about that property from an aerial perspective changed. Those aerial shots sometimes can really stand out when you're looking at a sea of homes all, taken from the front of the house or a left angle or a right angle, at ground level. Like sometimes just getting a drone 10 feet up in the air, is the difference in perspective that makes you stand out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, nice twilight photography generates some emotion when looking at those pictures. Yeah, I agree completely. I think pricing right from the get-go is what we always want to aim for. Um, Pricing high and waiting to see what happens can really be detrimental, and it can really be kind of like an emotional letdown for a seller too when a price is like over promised and then a lower offer feels like maybe your agent or the market just under delivered when in reality that's probably where it should have been priced at to begin with.
Yeah, and I'm hoping we transition back into like a normal market where it's not uncommon to see a house on the market for 2, 3, 4 months, 5 months. The challenge is right now when a buyer sees that, the first question they ask is what's wrong? Because we have a recency bias from these good years that, now they're like 2 years behind us, right? But it still feels like yesterday. People feel like we should be standing in line for homes. We've seen a lot of homes come to the market in the Portland area this year that were only on the market for a couple of weeks before they canceled or expired. Most likely those people's plans didn't change. They just got discouraged because they didn't get the demand that they had hoped for. But it's hard to generate a lot of demand when there's 7.5% interest rates, right? So let's just give like a little summary. Let's just give like a little advice summary from things that we've been seeing with our clients. And let's just start with buyers specifically. If there was one message that you would want to give to someone who's considering buying, maybe they're not even in the market, but they're would-be home buyer, what advice would that be?
Connect now with a trusted, reputable, knowledgeable lender. I'm not talking about sending your information in online and having something fed back to you into your Gmail or whatever. Get on the phone, talk to somebody, maybe go grab a coffee with them, build a rapport with a reputable lender and a buyer's agent early, but make sure you really feel like you have a solid team on your side working for you in your best interest. It's never too early to talk to professionals.
Yeah. And what I would want people to know is we do have an undersupply of housing in the Portland metro area if we zoom out. We're not building enough homes. It's very expensive to build a home. The cost of permits is very expensive. We know that on the long term, we have an undersupply of housing in the United States. That was a problem we talked about a lot during COVID. That conversation has disappeared because a lot of buyers have been taken out of the market currently, and so many homeowners are just blissfully happy with their 3 and 4% interest rates on their home. But the market that we're in right now is statistically a seller's market. When you think about how many months of inventory are on the market isn't acting like it because of interest rates. So this could be an opportunity that exists for another 6 months, 3 months, a year and a half. No one really knows how long these rates are going to stay in an elevated state. No one knows how long we're going to start seeing, or we're going to see this marginal compression of housing prices in the market. But what's certain is when we get to the other side of it, when rates do go down and a lot of the buyers on the sidelines come off the sidelines, we're going to be back to having a market where there's an undersupply. And I'm not ready to say we're going to stand in line and do all these things yet. But this is the first time in a decade, if we zoom out, where we've seen values go down. And everyone wants to wait until the bottom. What I can tell you is once we are past the bottom, everyone comes rushing back in. I've seen it in too many just little blippy up and down markets. So if you are a buyer that can handle pricing right now, and I've seen not pricing from a purchase price, but a mortgage price standpoint, refinancing is very simple. If there is a need, most likely your housing costs will go down. But it's nice to shop with options right now. It's much better to shop with lots of options than no options.
Yeah, if you find a house you love and you can afford it, why not buy it?
Yeah. So let's talk about advice to sellers.
Advice to sellers, just try to remember that we're in a new market. We aren't in the market that we were in when rates were artificially low. So it's hard, but we just have to adjust our expectations and maintain a level of patience and just take that showing feedback that you get. Some of it's great, some of it's not fun, but I think patience is really going to be key in this market.
And what I would say is if you are thinking about selling, this may not be the market for you. You definitely need a strategy if it is the market for you. You should probably not call a real estate agent 4 to 6 weeks before you want to list your house for sale. That's normally when we get calls. Like, you should talk to someone well in advance and talk about market outlooks and talk about what possibly could happen and talk about, maybe the best timing for you isn't the best time to maximize your goals, right? Most people, when they sell, they want to get as much money out as possible. And I think in a lot of markets in the Portland metro area, we are going to be looking at lower pricing in the spring than we will be in February or March, right? At least that's our trajectory right now, right? We've had 9 of 10 of the last months, the average sales price has been less than the same month the year before. And that 1 month that it was positive was only positive by a couple $1,000. Pretty sure we're going to see the same thing, when we get data for this next month. So preparing to sell your single largest asset that most people have makes a lot of sense to me. And that preparing might start or should start with a 30-minute meeting with a real estate professional. And by real estate professional, I mean me. And Katie can come too.
Yeah, and just to quickly add on to that, you and I have had this conversation several times. If you hear an agent in this market saying, the market's hot, it's time to jump in, list your house, the opportunity is available now, act with urgency, I would just ask them why. Tell me why you're saying that. Tell me a little bit more about my hyper-local market. What are the average days on market for a home like mine?
Yeah, and I
What's
think
the
that's
average sales price for a home like mine in my hyper-local market? If they can't answer those questions, should they be making those claims?
the market might be hot in certain market segments. And in certain market segments, the market is frigidly cold. And, that's the good thing about markets. One of my favorite quotes about the real estate market is what the market gives, the market takes away. The market gave us really good, took some of that away. But the same thing is happening. The same thing will happen right now. The market is giving buyers a lot of options. The market will take that away. The market has made it a little bit more challenging for some sellers. Eventually, the market will take that away as well. So if you guys want to get a hold of us, hello@hillshirerealtygroup.com is the best way to do so. If you're thinking about buying or selling real estate in the next the next 24 years, subscribe to our channel. Yeah, it doesn't matter to us. I'm going to put a link in the description below to a list of new construction homes. So if you want to look at those new construction homes, you can see it right there on our website. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.